Guys, Dan Hendriksen here, we're at Torquay Golf Club. I've got a slightly different video for you. I'm going to do a little what's in the bag, but it won't be my golf bag. It's going to be what's in my backpack. Let's get in the studio and run through what I'm using to do all these videos. So when this all started for me, the first thing I started to use when I was filming was my phone. Literally my iPhone. It was probably a number, I don't know, like a number 5 back then when I started using it. So the iPhone is something that really worked well for me, and it had the iMovie software on there, on the phone, that I could do my own editing. So it was really quite easy, pretty basic, but pretty easy to be able to do. So if you're looking to do your own videos, start with a phone. It's the cheapest way that you're going to get going on YouTube. So then when I wanted to upgrade, I moved into a Canon, and this is the EOS M3 Canon. It was about, I think, £350 at the time, but it came with a kit. You got the lens with it. Now this lens is a 15-45mm lens. So this is a basic lens that came with it. Very, very good. And what I loved about this one was the actual flip screen that it came with here. So it flipped up. So when I was actually vlogging, I could see myself whilst I was actually filming. Now, after that, we wanted to get a bit better in the audio side of things. So as I started to get some complaints, I then added the Rhodes mic. Now this is the basic one. This is like the 60 quid, 50, 60 quid that you can pick up on eBay. And we put the dead cat on top to stop wind coming in and hitting into the mic, which was affecting the audio. The problem I had though, is when you put all this together, when I flipped the screen up, I now couldn't see where I was actually filming. I couldn't see myself because obviously the mic was blocking what I was actually doing. So it became a bit of an awkward situation for me. The other thing that this Canon I struggled with was the autofocus on it wasn't great. The picture quality was pretty good and I could get some decent quality photos out of it and video, but the actual autofocus was pretty poor. And what would happen is I would get home and start editing a video, and then I'd notice that the actual focus of the shot would shoot off in a different direction. Especially in the studio, it was picking up lots of different types of movements around the studio and lots of other features that it would come off focus on me, and I'd have to put some overlays over the top, some B-roll that would cover that over, mask that over in some ways. So when we actually started up the channel, we decided to go down the line of a completely new camera. If we were going to get any decent quality, we needed something that we could rely on. So then we moved into the Canon M50. Now I did quite a bit of research on what the best cameras would be for vlogging in a budget that I could work with. And I had about £500 to spend. What I liked about this particular one is obviously when I've got the mic sat on top of it, in that position there, which is the shotgun mic from the Rhodes one that we've got, like I said, in the previous model of the M3, I was struggling because the flip screen would sit on top. This one, however, now flips out to the side. So when you're vlogging and you've got the mic sat on top there, this is just perfect to be able to make sure that you're, number one, you're in focus, and obviously you're in the position that you want to be in. The other great thing about the M50 is the autofocus on it is so good. I can move around if I want to get into a little bit of slow-mo as well. This camera, just for me, in the budget that I had, just works really, really well. And to be honest with you, it's not let me down once when it comes to the autofocus, which is so important when you're getting home, getting onto the edits, and then finding that you're out of shot. So the next addition to the channel was the GoPro, and I went for the GoPro Black 7. Now, there was an opportunity to get the 8, but for the extra added money that was involved in getting the 8, the only thing different that I could see between the 7 and the 8 when I was doing my research was that this one, was the number 8, did the nighttime time-lapse, which, to be honest with you, my phone can do that job if I need to do a nighttime time-lapse, which, to be honest with you, in a golf video, you don't really do many of those. So the GoPro 7 for me, just a great action camera. It's something that I can, when I'm traveling, I can just set it up for me so I can do my daily vlogging with this particular one as well. I bought an extra little kit for it, which you just slide the GoPro into that position there. I can then add the external microphone to it as well. So once I put the Rhodes mic into it, I can plug it into the bottom of this here, and then I've got an actual proper vlogging camera. We use that for when we get up onto the greens. Lester loves this camera because he can whiz up to the green and do his little bit of Bambi on ice around the green with it, so he can see those shots coming into the green. So I do love the GoPro. It has its limitations. It's a big wide angle lens, but to be honest with you, it's so steady, you could run with this and you wouldn't really know that I was running. So it's a great product, and yeah, that was the next addition to our channel. So because the channel was starting to do a lot more course vlog stuff, Lee actually had a Sony. He had a Sony camcorder, which we were using for a lot of the early course vlogs that we were doing. So we had my camera and Lee's camera, and I just wanted to make sure that we had enough kit. So we basically ended up with 2 camcorders. So I went out and purchased this particular camcorder, so which is the Sony FDR AX53. Now this one, 4K camera, absolutely fantastic for zooming in. So this is like something that we use to zoom in on the greens when we hit shots. We use the M50 for doing the sort of shot tracer stuff that you see, and then this is our kind of day-to-day one that we'll use when we get out onto the golf course. Lee also has this camera, and we've started to use that for when we're around the greens. So we use this one for sort of main shots on the tee, on the actual stand, so on the actual tripod stand, and then we'll use Lee's now on a smaller stand, which will then get in and around the sort of putting green when people are trying to hold putts. It just gives you a little bit more of a visual as to what we're kind of thinking or looking at when we're playing shots around the green. So this one here, again, £700 this cost. It wasn't, you know, lots of guys out there spending lots and lots of money on these expensive camcorders or cameras. You know, to be honest with you, this is not an expensive camera in considering what other people are using, but I just think that it gives off a really good quality picture, and slightly different to what the Canon produces, but again, perfect for what we do when we're vlogging out on the golf course. So one of the other things that you've got to get when you're starting to do filming and things like that is a decent laptop to start to edit with. Now, this is the MacBook Pro, and it's not the most expensive one in the world, but it's something that's going to hold enough of the information that I put onto it from the filming that we do. I had the Air version of this previously, which was a great little laptop, but ultimately it couldn't keep up with all the bits that I was putting onto it every day I was editing with it. So I invested into actually a second-hand one. I bought this off eBay, and I spent about £800 on it. Not that I've told Laura yet, but I've spent about £800 on this particular one, and it works absolutely fine for what I need of day-to-day editing. I also moved, when I updated this, I moved from iMovie, so I was doing a lot of my old videos in iMovie. It was a free app that came obviously on your phone, but it also came onto the Air computer that I had as well. So I was using iMovie. I then went for the free trial with the Final Cut Pro, which is again a product that we use on the actual Macs. And it's a great editing software. It just took my editing to another level in what I could actually do with some of the video footage that I put on there, and certainly some of the B-roll and the transitions and bits and pieces like that. Absolutely fantastic. So then I had to obviously purchase that when we finished that 90-day free trial, but it's definitely out there, and it's worth, if you've got one of these and you want to start doing a bit of editing, a bit of filming, it's definitely worth downloading the free trial to have a little play around. It will just give you 90 days of having a play around to see if you kind of like it. The other thing that you're gonna need when you do lots of these are hard drives. So hard drives are absolutely critical. I've got now 3 of these hard drives. I try to keep as much footage as I possibly can, because you never know when you're going to need it. So when we do our Sunday morning shows, things like that, saving some of that information on the hard drive so you can pull it down and sort of, you know, if we tell a story and we want to reflect back on a time when we were on the channel, I can access that through the hard drive. So I've got 3 of these, which again, you're spending sort of 100 quid per hard drive, but it all kind of adds up at the end. But you need to save as much of the footage you possibly can as you go through the channel. Batteries, always need batteries. I am constantly charging up batteries. When we go away and do a course vlog, I've got batteries charging left, right and centre. All around the hotel room are batteries charging. So having spare batteries, I probably buy every couple of months. I'm always buying new batteries for the actual cameras. So having spare batteries, chargers, always really important when you're out travelling and vlogging. So one of the other questions that I get from lots of people is, what lenses do we use when we're out filming? So I've got 2 lenses that I use. I've got a 15-45mm lens which came with both cameras. So I've actually got 2 of these lenses that came with kind of the packs of the Canon cameras. But I also bought this 10-18mm one. Now this is something that I use for more in the studio because it's a super wide angle lens. When I use the 15-45 lens, it was kind of getting a little bit narrow for me in here, and I wasn't being able to get everything into shot. So when I'm sort of doing close-ups and things like that, I just want to try and get a wide-angle lens, which is why I invested into this particular one. Finally, my bag. So this is my bag that I use to travel with. It cost me 40 quid in a sale, but it's got everything that I need. So protecting your equipment when you're traveling, really, really important. So obviously I've got all my bits that go into here. My Sony goes in the bottom of here, and then my Canon sort of work up through. I've got my GoPro which can go in here, and both of my microphones can get in here as well. And then as you see on the side, I've just got that little sort of grip. This is a jobby grip one that I use for when I'm just doing little bits around the sort of golf course. And yeah, and the laptop can then sit in the back of it. So I've got a little access there for my laptop, which was actually a really important bit. I wanted to make sure that my laptop was protected and it's easy to get in and out. And then iPad can then sit in the front here as well. So I've got access to pretty much everything that I need. So when I'm traveling, this is the bag that I will be traveling with. Super protective and yeah, pretty small, but works really, really well for me. And then last but not least, now this was kind of an accident that I ended up buying this drone. It's called the Mavic Mini, and it's something that Lee purchased for himself. He wanted to get a drone, so he purchased this. However, when we were doing a video, I hit it. I hit my shot, hit the drone, and busted the drone up. So Lee ended up going and buying a new one. I actually bought him a new drone because obviously I felt really, really bad. However, we managed to get this one repaired. Having a drone is just, it's a little bit of the icing on the cake for me when it comes to the videos that when we put out there, but just some of the places that we go, to have that aerial footage, to see us hitting shots in aerial footage, I just think it adds to the flavour of it. So again, not a particularly expensive drone, probably 350 quid, but it produces the quality that we need, that we want for right now. So that was kind of an add-on at the end, but it's, yeah, very, very nice. Show me the big camera that we use on occasions.
So this is the Panasonic Lumix GH5. This is our most expensive camera in the system. And this is the one that messed up at Yelverton and Tavistock because we flicked
shaky.
Yeah, because it's got powered lens stabilization.
Right.
And that was off.
So
that was the excuse that this camera was shaky. But to be honest, this is the camera that we use for, or I use to do the B-roll with. So like the slow-mos of you and Lester walking past and all that kind of thing is what we use this for. Yeah. Because it does great video at 60 frames per second. And then it's also set up to do 120 frames a second. So all the slow-mos off the tees are also done with this camera. Just because it's so smooth and it's such a good camera for that.
And what lens is on that?
So this is the Leica 12 to 60mm. Yeah. So it's got a really good wide angle at the sort of 12mm, but then it's got quite a good zoom as well. So it gives us a bit of versatility. So you know, like when you say get in the grass, Lee.
Yeah, I do say that a lot. However, a lot of the time when you're playing, I don't have to say that.
Yeah, no, I can find my own way there. But if I'm in the grass, wanting to video a B-roll, a tee shot, I don't want to be right in front of you. Yeah. Because obviously I'm in the fire line, so I can get far enough back, zoom in, and still get the great picture quality that it's got with it. And I say with the powered stabilisation and the body has stabilisation, it's just a good camera to hold. So there you go, there's a little insight into what we use to produce these videos. Don't forget, if you're looking to get into YouTube or social media or anything like that, start small. Don't go investing lots and lots of money. What I've done over these last sort of 6-7 months is whatever I've earned from YouTube, I've put back into buying better cameras and better software, better laptops to try and improve the videos that I'm making. So start small and try and work your way up. Let me know, put your comments down below. Do you use any of the products that I use? I'd like to hear what you say. And also, if you've seen any other products that might help us improve our channel, I'd like to hear that as well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up if you like what we're doing, and as always, stay safe, and we'll look forward to catching up with you again soon.